Hello and welcome to this video on how to decide if product management is the right career choice for you. My name's Tracy Shuff. I'm a career coach at Fourth Rev and I work with learners on career accelerator programs, including product management ones at King's. What I'd like to do during this video is cover three main areas. The first thing is helping you to get to know yourself better. The reason I want to encourage you to do this is the more you understand yourself, you understand what your drivers are, what you love to do, what you're good at, where you want to go, the better decision you will be able to make as to what is the right career choice for you. So we'll start off with getting to know yourself, and then I want to try and help you make product management as a career a little bit more real. And I'll give you some sort of tips and techniques how you can do that. And finally, I'll put those two things together. So we'll take what you know about yourself, we'll take what you've learned about product management as a career, and we'll see if there's a match. So let's start with the big question, who am I? So first of all, I'm going to recommend you try and think carefully about your strengths and your skills. If you want to know the difference, strengths tend to be things that we have naturally, that sort of we've sort of developed from childhood. So, for example, if you find that it's easy for you to get on with people, make relationships with people, that's probably a strength. Great if you want to get into product management. It's all about stakeholder management, so really good strength to have. Skills tend to be things that we have learned. So they might be hard skills. So some of the technical skills you'll learn on a product management course, for example, would be hard skills. And then there's the softer skills. So if you want to move into management, say, you'll learn leadership skills, and they're soft skills. But really, it doesn't matter what they're called. What I'd like you to do is list what you are good at. So in a moment, I'm going to suggest you just pause the video and contemplate your strengths and your skills. Start the list. You might find this a little bit difficult. And if you do, just try and stand back and reflect on what you do in a normal day. Whether that's at work, whether that's at uni, whether that's in your hobbies. But just think about the things that you're doing that you're good at. So it may be if you go to the office, you start up a conversation with someone. Again, that's because you're good at building those relationships. It may be that you sit down at your desk and an email's come in and it's a problem that you need to solve. Great, you're good at problem solving. There you go, using another one of your strengths. You may go onto a meeting and come up with an idea that no one else has thought of. You're a creative person. That's one of your skills. So your strengths, rather. So just think about what you do in a day. The other thing to think about is what lands on your desk. What are the things that you're given that other people don't tend to be? The reason they're given to you is because people know that you're good at them and they know you'll do it well. So, think about those things you get that your colleagues, your friends don't seem to have to deal with. They're the things that you're good at. Also, think about positive feedback that you've been given. So it may be formal feedback, so you may have appraisals, or it may be verbal feedback. So someone, you do something for them, say, oh, actually, that's a really good piece of work. Well done. Thank you so much for doing that. So it's that more informal feedback, positive feedback that you've been given. But I want you to try and capture some of that. As I said before, the more you can understand your strengths and skills, the better decisions you'll make. One of the really effective things to do when you're thinking about understanding your strengths and your skills is to ask other people. And the reason that's useful is often the things that we are really, really good at, we take for granted. Because we're good at them, they just come naturally to us. But other people actually see that you're doing that. So I think here of an example of driving a car. So, I get in a car and drive it, don't even think about it as a skill that I've learned. But I remember a few years ago when I was trying to teach my eldest to drive a car when he was a teenager, first time I went out with him, I suddenly realised all the things you have to think about when you're driving a car. So that was a skill I was taking for granted that I'd learnt. So I really, really encourage you to ask other people, and they'll come up with some great things that will probably be a real confidence boost to you. So I'm going to suggest you just pause the video for a second and just contemplate some of those things to start that list of your skills and strengths. Okay, well, hopefully you've started that list. Now I want you to move on to things that you love to do. Now, these may match your skills, and hopefully they will in some things, but they may not. So the reason for doing this is, if you can get a career that does a lot of things that you love doing, then brilliant. That's going to be a fabulous career for you. You're going to really enjoy that career. So try and identify those things that you enjoy, that you love to do. Again, difficult exercise perhaps, but things that may help is think about times when you've really, really felt in the zone. You know, when you've got your head down and time just disappears because you're loving what you're doing so much. Think about what you're doing there. You know, what would you like to do more of? Think about what you're confident doing. Often the things we enjoy most are the things that we're confident in. Also, think about those moments at work or uni or hobbies that you're doing when it just felt really great. It just stands out for you as being a really great moment. And try and work out why it felt so good. So, for example, you may have completed a piece of work and you may say, great, yeah, love that. I remember that. Stands out for me as being a really good time. But why was it so good for you? Was it the fact that you'd finished something, you were a completed finisher, you'd like to see that end product? So that's what you'd like to reproduce in a job role. It may be that you loved it because you were given external compliments. Few people say, "That great, well done, that's a fantastic piece of work you just did." You like that external validation. Or it could be inside, it just felt great. You knew that you'd done a really good piece of work and you got that internal satisfaction. So you want more moments like that. Or it could be you worked with a team. You loved getting on with the team. There was different ideas. It was just a great, vibrant project for you. And again, that's something you want to replicate. So note that down. I'm also going to encourage you to think about the things that you enjoy that perhaps you're not quite there yet in terms of your own development. So the skills that can be developed. It's great if you can identify these, because you'll know where to then go to be able to develop those skills further. So don't just think about things that you're very good at, that you enjoy. Think about things you enjoy, but maybe you can develop a little bit further. And then take all those things and analyze what they have in common, why they stand out for you, and try and get a list. It could be that they have in common the fact that you're really, really busy. Great for being a product manager. It could be that it's because there were lots of different parts to it. There was a lot of variety. Again, really good thing as a project manager. So just think about what those moments, the times when you felt good, the times you're in the zone, what they have in common, and note that down. Final thing in terms of getting to know yourself is thinking about what you want to achieve longer term in your career. Again, a difficult thing to do. But the reason I'm suggesting it now is, if you understand where you're going, it ensures that you start off in the right direction and it stops you going down a cul-de-sac. So, for example, there might be something bright and shiny and new over here that you think, yeah, I'd love that. And you would for a while. But it either leads you to a dead end or leads you down a path that you really don't want to take. So if you understand your direction of travel, it will really help you make the right first step towards that career goal. And don't worry if you can't be precise in this. I'm not going to suggest that in 10 years' time you want to hold this job title, but it's more, as I say, general direction of travel. So it might be that you think, well, I really like being an expert in things and I'd like to be seen as a subject matter expert. So in 5 years, I'd like to be seen as a subject matter in X. Or it could be that you think, I really like people and I'd like to, as I develop my career, go into a leadership role and manage people. So that's something worth noting. So whatever you go into, you need to make sure you can grow it into a leadership role. The other thing to think about when you're thinking about the future is trying to think of anything that you would regret not doing. The reason I'm saying that is as we get older, it's the things that we don't do, that we haven't done, that we regret and then eat away at us, rather than the things that maybe we tried and didn't work out. Now, as I said before, this isn't easy. So there's an exercise I'm going to suggest you try. Um, think about a very, very good friend that you have right now. And for some reason, you lose contact with that friend. And then in 10 years' time, you bump into that friend in the street and you decide to go for a coffee or a glass of wine. What is it? Note down what you would like to say to that friend about what's happened to you in those intervening 10 years. Now, this will be everything. It won't just be your job. But to be honest, I'm a big believer is your work is a big part of your life, not separate from it. But you might find that something comes out of that exercise about something that you would like to achieve, that you'd like to do before your career finishes. So just pause for a second again and just have a think about that and note down the things you'd like to say to that friend. Okay, great. So we have thought about ourselves long and hard. It's now time to learn a little bit more about product management as a career. And the more real you can make it, the better you'll be able to evaluate whether it's an option or not. So first thing to do is to look at the job boards, put the term product manager in, and pull off quite a few descriptions. Now, there is some variation in what product managers do. There are similar themes, but there are slightly different paths they can take. So pull a few together and see which ones attract your attention and notice the qualities that they're looking for. So if you watch Laura's video, you'll know it's things like relationship management, telling a story very well, making things very clear, you adapt very well, those sorts of things. So pull those job descriptions together to get those common themes. The other thing you can do on job boards and LinkedIn is to have a look at future career paths. So put product management as a title, but perhaps put a large salary in just to see the direction people have taken. And you can also do this on LinkedIn by actually going to LinkedIn and typing the term product manager when you're searching for people. Put yourself on privacy first, probably, and then just seek out all the people that are currently product managers, perhaps in sectors or areas that you're interested in, and see what paths they've taken. And the other thing I'm going to suggest you do is be bold and contact some of those people. Because if you can speak to people who do the role or have done the role, they will be able to give you a really, really clear picture. And the more people you talk to, the better knowledge you're going to get of product management. And also, obviously, don't forget the Q&A on the 3rd of August, where you'll be able to ask lots of questions and speak to Janet and Laura, both of whom know lots and lots about product management. So identify people on LinkedIn, and as I say, be bold. My daughter did this recently. She was considering what to do after uni, and she went onto LinkedIn. She found a few people who are currently doing the role that she thought she wanted to do, and she had 2 or 3 great conversations with people, and she learned a lot, and actually she's decided that's going to be the career path for her. People love to help you, particularly if you're thinking about doing the job that they do. So do reach out. Also, look around you in your current organisation, friends and family. You may know people who do product management as a job right now, but even if you don't, the people that you know may know people. So let people know you're looking to talk to people who are currently product managers or been in that role, just to give you a bit of advice. And I bet you'll uncover a few people to be able to give you that advice. So you've learned about yourself. We've made it real. Now it's time to put those 2 things together. So map your strengths and skills that you've learned about yourself against what's required from a product manager that you've learned from Laura's video, you've learned from the Q&A, and you've learned from the research that you've done. Look at your long-term career ambitions, the direction you want to go in, and match that against what you've learned in the future career path for a product manager. So it's not just will you enjoy the job in a few years, will you enjoy the job in 10 years' time? Then I'd take a piece of paper and do the list of positive things about becoming a product manager and some of the negative things about being a product manager. But just be careful with your negatives. Make sure that you're not putting barriers in the way. It's easier not to do something and think of a million and one reasons why I don't want to be a product manager. But actually, it might be just you playing it safe. You know, you might have that really warm, comfy comfort blanket around you. Inaction is easier than action. But actually, those barriers aren't real. And it could be exactly the right thing you do. So just test those negatives, make sure they're not false ones. The other thing I'm going to encourage you to do is just take a moment and pause and think about all you've learned about yourself. Think about what you've learned about being a product manager. And just imagine yourself in a few years' time doing that job. How does that make you feel? It might make you feel a bit scared, but if it also makes you feel really excited inside, then it's the thing for you to do. Best of luck in all you do, and hopefully you'll join us tomorrow, 3rd of August, at 12 o'clock British Standard Time for the Q&A session. Thank you for your time.